Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first edition to Real Life, Real Salontreprepeurs. This is my very first, and I am really honored to have everyone on today. We're doing two things here. We've got people on a webinar, and we're going live on Facebook. So what is real life with real Salontreprepeurs? What is that? Well, it's real success stories, but what we're really talking about is the struggles behind the success stories. And I'm really honored, I'm really honored to have Jerilynn Stephan, who is this amazing woman that I've just recently gotten to know. And who is Geralyn? Geralyn is a 6-time Emmy nominated or award nominated. Can you tell us?
I have 6 Emmy nominations with the voice hair department, and then a Guild Award win with the hair department, and then like 8 nominations through the Guild with the voice and the VMAs and a commercial I did. Yeah, I like nominations. The voice and the VMAs and.
Hang on, I'm having some technical difficulties here. I'm having hold on just a minute here. Hang on, I'm having some technical difficulties. Let me close my Facebook screen. All right, so I'm sorry, I totally missed that because I was on Facebook and it rerouted me. So Geralyn,
yeah, so I have 6 nominations for an Emmy for the voice hair. I've got a Guild Award win, voice hair, and then I think 8 nominations for a Guild between the voice and a commercial and VMA. So it's, anything I can try and get a nomination, I do.
You're doing the deal.
It makes you try and reach the next level. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So today, it's kind of funny, everyone. I met Geralyn just a couple weeks ago at Paul Berry's Student Underground. Some of you may know Paul, and some of you may have heard of Student Underground. And we were in Glendale. We didn't know each other, and then we were introduced by Sharon Esch and Alex Irving, correct? That's who introduced us, I think, yeah.
I knew nobody, and I was introduced to all of you at once. So yes, I do remember Sharon and Luis. Is it Luis, the hair whisperer?
Yeah, yes, Lois.
Lois, and Jim Cox, and you.
And me.
Yeah.
And so we started talking about doing these real life with real Salontreprepeurs, just talking about our real struggles and what led us to our particular chosen career, because I've worked in a salon my entire career. And Geralyn, have you ever worked in a salon, Geralyn?
Yeah, I worked around 8 to 10 years because I was slowly trying to get into the television business, TV, film. And so I worked at a barbershop on Sunset in the Standard Hotel. So they would kind of let me come and go as I pleased, and would go off and do like a Hallmark movie, come back. So it was like 8 to 10 years in there that I was actually in a salon. But I do have a salon that I have at my house. I do a lot of voice makeovers and stuff like that, and a few handful of clients. So I try and keep, up to date with what's current and what's going on. So.
Okay. So you are a working hairdresser.
Yes.
You don't just work with the, you don't just work on The Voice and hang out with the rich and famous.
True. I do other things.
So anyway, when we were talking in Glendale, we were talking, this whole idea of real life, real Salontreprepeurs really started with, you know, I really loved working in a salon. And I think when I first started doing hair, I thought that that was really glamorous, but I just really liked people. And I just loved, I started working on Rodeo Drive is where I started working, and I didn't so much like Beverly Hills people, but when I moved out to the Pasadena area, I really enjoyed working with the people and working in the energy of a salon. And Jerilynn just really, really, really liked and fell in love with working in the studios. Mm-hmm. Which then led to us having a conversation last week. And last week, during our conversation,
here's where it gets real, guys. This is the fun part.
This is where it gets real. Last week during our conversation, we were talking about, you know, doing hair, being hairdressers, our chosen paths. And we're both from the Midwest. I'm from Wisconsin. Jerilynn is from Michigan.
Hence why I have a fire going.
So the Geralyn is channeling the true Midwestern fire, chilly fall night. And I'm over here in LA with my awards, showing off my awards behind me. And so when Geralyn and I kind of started really talking about what we wanted to talk about on this webinar, you know, Jerilynn just sort of like regurgitated all this stuff of her life. And when she started, I was just listening because, you know, that's what I do. I don't always talk, you guys. I do actually listen. So when I was listening to her, she said that she is a recovering alcoholic. And after she finished with talking about her life and her child and her son and her husband and her whole life, it came back to me and I said, well, we have a lot more in common than what you think.
Because and somehow I knew you were going to say this.
You knew?
I knew.
So I said I'm a recovering alcoholic as well. I've been in recovery for many years. So that just led us talking about recovering and the struggles and how, you know, a lot of what we've experienced in our personal life and the hardships that we have experienced in our personal life has sort of pushed us in different directions and created different purpose in our life. So that's our big secret. Jerilynn, is this something that you just like talk about with everyone?
You know, I'm an open book. So if you're friends with me, you're going to know I'm sober. Honestly, it's like, if I can just help one person by being open and honest about my recovery and my hardships and like the demon that was like the big black cloud, you know, whether it is drinking or food or gambling, for anyone, it's like, I just want you to know you're not alone, you know, and occasionally I'll get someone who wants to talk a little bit. You know, it's like when people start asking questions, it's like, I know that they want more information, but maybe not want to say anything. And I've had people ask me, you know, like, what can I do? Where can I go? And, you know, it's out there for you. And I just really am about, you know, wanting to inspire and help others. That's all.
Well, on my side, it's not something that I generally share with a lot of people. I think because I've been a boss for you know, for the majority of my career, I have been a boss. And while people know that a lot of people who have worked for me who have needed help in recovery and have struggled with different addictions and alcoholism and bulimia and anorexia, and oh my God, you name it, I've had it in my salon. And you name it, I've probably been through it. So, you know, it was something that I shared more privately, but it wasn't something that I lived out loud. And it is part of my life, and it's part of who I am. And who knew that, you know, 2 weeks ago, we would have been in Glendale and we would have converged, and, you know, we would have had so much in common between living, you know, loving what we do and loving this industry and wanting to help younger people in the industry and to create purpose. And that is the topic today, purpose-driven dreams. And, you know, here we were to have so much in common. So I have a couple questions here for Geralyn, but I also wanted to let you all know that if anybody has questions for Geralyn, no matter what it is, whether it's how do I, you know, get a job on The Voice? How did you work your way up? How did that happen? Or if it's about, you know, addiction or our struggles with addiction or anything that we talk about in this, please just either type it in the chat box if you're on Zoom, or if you're on Facebook Live, go ahead and say hi to us. We would love you Facebookers if you were to give us some loves and some likes and some happy faces and just give us some encouragement, because I gotta tell you, this on live, we're live here and we're kind of coming out with our, you know, real life situations here.
Well, can I interrupt? And I mean, honestly, it's like, when I was talking to you, I have two platforms in my life. I know my purpose is to like inspire and help others, especially young people. And my platforms are hair and then sobriety. And it's like, it's so crazy to me that it's not that crazy, because like, this is how my life evolves. It's like when you put something out there, what happens? It happens, right? And I think so many people need to know, like, you actually put focus on something and intention, you're most likely going to get it, and in much bigger ways than you ever anticipated. And for me, it was like, I wanted to, you know, the fact that I met you at a student hair show was thanks to Gina with Easy Updo Extensions. I was able to connect with you and others, and it was amazing. And then all of a sudden, literally 2 weeks later, I'm talking about sobriety live on Facebook. Who would have thought? You know, it's like, I never would have thought about that being an option. But you know what? It's just like, I just want to like connect with everyone, because, you know, my self-esteem when I was younger and didn't know who I was, and it was like this whole evolving of becoming the woman I was intended to be. And being sober has brought me to that. You know, I'm able to be the person, the woman, the mother, the wife, the boss that I was intended to be, which is just a beautiful thing. So anyway, there's my little thing, but sorry to interrupt you. I felt like I had to share that.
Share it, interrupt, because sometimes they can get going. I do have a couple questions for you that I prepared. And again, if anybody has any questions, comments, please just type them into either the chat box.
I do like the smiley faces and hearts and stuff.
Facebook, and we'll So Gina, I want to get, Gina just asked on the webinar, because we're on both, when did you feel you can manifest your life through focus?
When did I feel I could do it? You know, when I first got sober, I was 33. I actually got sober, you guys, when I was 17 to like 20. That was not through my own, that was my parents, but I wanted it. But when I was 33, I got sober again. And that was for me. And that I wanted to do everything possible that I could to better my life. So I was like in every self-help book I could imagine. And so I started reading all these self-help books, and I was like manifesting, and The Secret was out there. And like, so I was like, all right, fine. I'm going to put you to the test, because you know what? I'm down here and I need to come up here. And I started, going, fine, I'm going to write it down. You know, I wasn't in the film industry yet. I had moved to LA. I just gotten sober. And so I started writing down what I wanted. And then I just focused on it. And I told people what I wanted to do. Like I said, I was working at a barbershop on Sunset. And I started telling people I do hair and makeup. And they're like, oh, really? Oh, that's great. Like everybody else in town. But one day I met somebody who was like, I hire hair and makeup. I was literally within 2 months, I changed 3 people that changed my life in my career. They took, like, at that moment is when I was like, oh my gosh, this manifesting stuff works. Focusing on it, it works. It blew my mind. That's when I first figured out about manifesting and focusing, and things can really come true.
Okay. I agree. I think that, you know, to answer the question, you know, the intention and focus, for me, intention is just intention. But when you add focus to it, then you get a whole different combination. And I think that is probably, especially working from a coaching end of it, that's probably the most difficult thing that for people to do, is actually focus on a particular thing. And sometimes we have to just write it down and just put it in our face, right? Yeah. So we have another question from Felicity. What was your biggest inspiration of getting into the hair industry? And what was your biggest inspiration in getting into the hair industry? And do you find it much different experience than being in the salon, or is it about the same?
Oh, it's much different. I don't know if I could work in a salon all day long anymore. It's hard work, you guys. Working in a salon is really hard work. I don't know how y'all do it for like 10 hours back to back. I mean, when I work in my salon, after 6 hours, I'm like, all right, I've had enough. This is too much. But my biggest inspiration getting into the hair industry was I was almost 25 years old and bartending. And when I was 18, I thought I would go to beauty school, and then I fell in love and moved to Seattle. So that didn't happen. So while I was in Seattle, I was like turning 25, no career. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I was like, I'm going to go to beauty school. So I went to beauty school. It wasn't like this passion that I knew I wanted to do all my life. It was sort of a like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? And then it turned into me visiting a film set in Seattle. One of my friends was dating a guy who was working on it. So we went, and oh my God, I fell in love. I was like, this is what I want to do. You know, it seems so glamorous, but it really isn't. I mean, it is and it isn't. You know, you'll be on the cold, Big Bear, in your parka, looking for a heater. You know, it's not that glamorous. But there are those
It's kind of like speaking always seems very, speaking in front of, on a main stage always is very glamorous, seems very glamorous and exciting too,
Yeah.
until, you start really traveling and speaking and sitting in traffic and the microphone breaks or, whatever, there's, real life happens, right? We're talking about real life. Like not everything is just all perfect. So, what were the big milestones you have experienced along your journey?
Okay. My journey in life or salon? I guess, hair industry. Big milestones for me doing hair would be that first job, and then actually becoming a union hairstylist, which means I get to work on most TV shows and films and bigger budget stuff, I guess. Not so much anymore, but I don't know what makes they become union. So you have to be a union hair and makeup artist or union worker, period. That was a huge industry or milestone in my industry. And that actually happened during my other milestone, which was delivering Eli and being married to my husband. That all happened in 1 year. 2007 was incredible. So,
2007?
2007 was an insane year. I wrote a lot of thank you cards that year. So.
Yeah, Gina says in the hair industry. So what was your biggest milestone in the hair industry? I think for me, it was the very first salon that I opened up. 1990, let's see, I started doing hair in 1987. And actually, I take that back. I believe I was 27 and I flipped six figures.
Oh.
And then I was 28 and I opened my first salon and being able to do six figures at that young of an age.
Oh yeah.
And getting to allowed me to open my first salon, so I think that those are very warm and tender, mushy moments for me. And I was actually sober at the time because, I got sober at 25.
That's
and I got, I actually, how I kind of got sober is I was working in Rodeo Drive. I was doing hair. I was working on Rodeo Drive, but I was living in the Pasadena area. And so we would work all day. And then we'd walk down to La Scala afterwards every single night and just like booze it up. Right. And then I would drive all the way back, totally wasted, drive all the way back to Pasadena from Beverly Hills. And we would, and during that time, I got in a little bit of trouble with the law for driving drunk. And that's actually what drove me to get sober. And so I was 25. So during those 2 years, I just really hit it hard. My first 2 years in sobriety and between the ages of 26 and 27. And you want to talk about focus and intentionality. My focus was, I was tired of being in trouble. I was tired of being this party girl. I wanted to be a professional. So, that's what gave me that focus at that time to be able to, at 27 years old, make six figures, be a six-figure hairdresser.
Right. And you couldn't have done that without sobriety.
No, I couldn't have. No. But at the same time, I don't know that I would have been as motivated. And, this whole topic is about a purpose-driven life or, purpose purpose-driven dreams, you know, I had a dream, and it was almost because I did screw up so much, like in those couple years, you know, I was pretty young, you know, 25. So that actually kicked me into wanting to succeed a lot more than I think I would have if I wouldn't have been an alcoholic. Like for me, I had something to prove, if I'm going to be real honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I have a couple questions. So, you know, back to the topic about alcoholism, because I really think that this is like a message that needs to get out, because here you have two women who don't look like drunks.
With the same hair today and wearing the same color.
we don't, you know, we don't look like we'd be passed out on the sofa, you know, like not very feminine looking, I should say. But I mean, that's the real truth, right? So how did alcoholism affect your career life and your personal life, and, you know, in a negative way that sort of drove you to get back into recovery?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, when I got sober, 33, that's when my career started to take off. That's when it all started to happen for me. And then when I was 37, I met my husband, and he knew I was sober, and I was he said I was perfect for, like, he doesn't really drink at all. So I was the perfect match for him, because honestly, some men can't handle it. Yeah, you know, but they couldn't handle me drunk either. So anyway, sorry, I gotta make jokes about it. So 37, I'm sober, I get married, I have a child. Life is pretty amazing and fantastic. My career's it's taking off. And then all of a sudden I'm like, you know what? God, life is amazing. I think I can drink again. So, yeah, I talked my husband into, I think it was just some bad years. And he, you know, he doesn't know alcoholism. He didn't grow up in it. So he was like, well, all right. And I told my friends, like, I made a thing. I'm like, I'm going out, I'm drinking, I think I'm good. So that was alcoholism talking, convincing me, and me being a really good liar convincer. I convinced everybody that I could handle this. And so during my marriage, after Eli was born, it went up and down. It was a rocky road, and it was very hard on our family. And it was hard on me, because, like, I had the dark cloud, man. It was like hovering over me, like this, you know, every day, thinking like about alcohol. You guys, if you're an alcoholic, you think about alcohol. Right? I'm sorry, it's true. And I'm driving home thinking, how much wine do I got home? You know, and so yeah, it was very, all of a sudden my husband was like, he's so sweet. Oh my God. He's like, you know what? This is not in the brochure when I married you. And I was like, right. He's like, I wouldn't have had a second date with you. And I was like, true. I wouldn't have had a second date with you because you don't drink, really. But it was like, I had to go through that. But I will say, during that time of it going up and down, of me, like, because I would drink and not drink, drink and not drink, drink and drink, you know, it was just like really rocky, not committing to anything. My career went flatlined. Like it nothing good, nothing bad, nothing, it just was flatlining. And when I decided, you know, when my husband and I talked about it, and I did it for myself, you know, my career after I got sober again, it took about a year and then all of a sudden I was becoming department head of The Voice. And then I became department head of another show and another show and another show. And it's like these last 4 years have been incredible. You know, that's what sobriety's done for me. And it's just made me really clear. I know my focus, I know my purpose, you know, this is the whole point of that, my purpose. So my purpose is to share my light. And whether that is with sobriety or hair or dreaming big and manifesting your life, I'm here. That's what I want to do, you know, especially young people.
Why is you've mentioned that a few times to me, that it's really important for you to reach young people. What is behind that? Why is that such a drive for you?
Well, I'm guessing that my son has something to do with that. He is turning 11. I know that people that are in their, I mean, don't take offense, millennials, but I really feel that there's people I talk to around that age, or people private message me, and, you know, they want to be me, they want to assist me, they want to do, you know, and it's like, I appreciate the actual action of reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of hard work in between becoming me. I've been doing this, you know, I've been doing hair 23 years, and it didn't happen overnight. And I think that's what a lot of young people are forgetting, is like, there's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of, you know, work. I apprenticed underneath someone for like $13 an hour for a year and a half. You know, and I bartended at night. So like I had 2 jobs for 5 years, 5, hair and bartending, I mean, the bartending, we know where that got me, but paid the bills. Anyway, yeah.
Well, and that's interesting you say that, because I think that your sentiment in the frustration of how hard we worked to earn the right to stand behind a chair was, you know, like we deserve now some sort of trophy, and then there's this new group of younger people coming in, that they have social media and they have all of these other tools that we didn't really have then. And we're kind of looking at them thinking, you know, wait, you didn't earn the right. You didn't earn the right to stand behind that chair. And there's a conflict there, because I think that they feel that they did. And so, you know, somebody once said to me, you mean I have to be a shampoo girl for a year in order to earn the right to, you know, to work, to cut hair? And, you know, I really, in the back of my head, what I really thought is, shampoo girl, for the first 3 months, I went and got lunch and coffee and breakfast for all of them. And I didn't even they weren't even trusting me to shampoo their client at that point, you know?
Yeah.
And, but, you know, at the same time, I think that it taught us respect.
100%.
I think it taught us appreciation for the ability to stand behind the chair. And I think that it taught us, you know, when the salon gave us a client, it was because we earned the client, right? Because we had to go from A to B to C to D, right? And the younger generation just doesn't get that. So there's a lot of frustration, and there's a lot of people you're not a millennial. I'm not a millennial. I'm a Gen Xer. You're a Gen Xer.
Is that what we're called?
I work Gen X.
Wait, what?
Gen X.
Gen X?
Gen X. X smart. So spot. So I think that what we're doing now is, the baby boomers, the people who taught us, right?
Mm-hmm. Are retiring.
I really feel like now it's our turn to kind of become leaders. Yeah. And so we're sort of stuck in between what we were taught over here and what they're telling us over here, and us being the people pleasers, the ones who gave all the trophies to all those kids.
Yeah.
It's our generation who created the trophy generation, right? It's us that did it. So we're like, what do? We want them to be happy, but this isn't how we rolled. This isn't how we earned this. So it becomes very conflictive in learning how to lead. And so how do you do that? How do you do that? What's the message, Geralyn, that you want to give to that younger generation? If there's one message, like this is like your one line, 2 lines to just quick get it out there, what would it be?
Ooh.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes, you are. Respect. Right? I mean, respect everyone, respect others, respect yourself. I mean, that's on the spot. I think respect. I had to tell my son about this today. Respect. It's like, people don't respect one another anymore. Or some.
Well, and I think that, we, on the other side of it, I'm going to flip it a little bit. Respect is earned, right? So we feel that we've earned the respect. But I think a lot of times that's a presumptive thing. Like, what can we, I guess I always flip it around, like, to the millennials, what can we do to earn your respect? And and then flip it around back on them, this is what we need to earn our respect. Because it's a two-way conversation.
I wonder what millennials think. I wonder if
Brittany, Brittany's on right now.
Is she a millennial?
Brittany is a millennial, I believe. There's got to be some millennials out there watching, but if
like, are we crazy to think that, like, are we the only ones that think millennials? I feel like there's a sense of entitlement to that age group. Because truly things are just basically handed to us now, right? Like, there's anything we need access to. And I feel like there's no, you're no working hard for it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I think going back to the struggle part, the struggle is real, and we've had you and I and everybody watching, right? Everybody watching, we've all had our struggles. I know Tina Black is on, and she said her daughter is a millennial and her salon partner. And, I know Tina, and I know Tina's had her struggles too. Matter of fact, I would love to have Tina on to talk to her about, real life, real struggles too. And, you know, Brittany says she teeters on the edge of millennials, but I think what needs to happen is, you know, I look at everything now that I'm a coach. I look at every single thing from a coaching perspective. So I remove myself and my own feelings from this situation. And I look, you know, here's these two distinct Gen Xers, three baby boomers, Gen Xers and millennials. And then now we got Gen Z, who are the younger ones that just are graduating now. And how do we create a respectful conversation and asking each other, okay, what do you need? And I'd like to ask Tina, because Tina is on watching. I'd like to ask Tina, you know, since her and her daughter are business partners, what does your daughter think about this if she is a millennial? You know, I'm going to give her a minute to respond. We also have Gina that says, but life isn't about adapting to changes. We have to respect that the millennial, hang on, I need to move my browser. I need to move my box here because I'm not able to read the whole thing. We need to respect, yikes, do you see it there?
Yeah.
Sure.
She says we have to respect the millennial saw a trend in tech and got involved in social, which is king for big bus and younger generation. Isn't life about business?
Business. That's true. You know, I think what she's saying is that we need to respect that they saw an opportunity in business, and I mean, that's a brilliant.
Now she says, isn't life about adapting to the times? Yes, 100% discovering that now. By the way, millennials out there, I need a social media person. I do. I can't handle it myself. So yes, you have to adapt to the change, which is a good point, because I don't need a website anymore. My Instagram, everybody wants to know what's your Instagram, right? So it's, yes, adapting, you're right. Millennials do have a niche on that. I was like hanging on, white knuckling it, trying not to go that direction, but unfortunately we have to, right? Look at us, we're on Facebook Live.
It took me a couple months to figure it out, but I got it going. So I asked Tina the question because her daughter, whose name is Brianna, by the way, and who is her business partner, who's a millennial, says that, let's see, I absolutely love the millennial generation. They love being coached and being held accountable with strong systems and accountability. We need to remember that they're young and still discovering themselves. And that's a really, really good point. And then she also says, I actually have a harder time with Gen X, and I'm a Gen X. So, you know, and I agree too. And I don't know why this whole conversation, like this is an organic conversation, guys. We had no intention of it going this way. But that's
more open-minded towards millennials.
But that's so, and I am as well, because I will tell you that my entire staff was millennials. And I had a very successful, I had six-figure stylists working for me, and they, excuse my language, busted their ass for me. I do feel like that there is a need for strong leadership, and I feel that that leadership is lacking in a lot of Generation Xers, because we had such strong leadership from baby boomers. I mean, if you think about it, the people who taught you or the people who taught me, you know, they were really strong leaders. And the salon owners that I worked for, you know, the people that I worked for on stage at shows, you know, they were really strong leaders. And so what did that make me? Like, I didn't really have to lead. I was just following, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to learn to become a strong leader. And, you know, for me, I agree with Tina. I really liked dealing with millennials. I think millennials get lumped into one big category. So
I liked what Tina had to say. It opened my eyes more. Yeah. Thank you for that, Tina.
Yeah, but I do think that millennials get lumped into one big category, but there's the good millennials and there's the bad millennials. But that's just like in a generation, right?
Exactly.
Like at 23 years old, I was totally drunk all the time. Not such a good employee, right?
Right.
And I had to experience life, and life, what is it? The great humbler.
Mm-hmm. You know, and what I love about that is, like, you know, you think of like failures, right? And it's like, when you fail, I'm kind of going off on something, but like, it's not really a failure. It's just a learning process, a growth. And that's, you know what? And actually that intertwines with as young and getting older, right? Mm-hmm. And everything is anything that's an obstacle, you know, makes us stronger, you know, and as long as we're learning from it. And yeah.
Well, and that'll get me going into my whole mindset thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have fixed mindset and we have growth mindsets. So there is a really, really good book, by the way, called Mindset. It's by an author by the name of Carol Dweck.
Okay.
Completely boring. I would fall asleep reading it, but so I have to listen to these types of books on Audible in the car where I'm hijacked and captive, a captive audience. But it was such an eye-opening book. Please listen to it, or if you can handle reading it. Carol Dweck, D-W-E-C-K. It's called Mindset. And if you are in a position where you're a boss, or even if you're not a boss, even if you're a parent or an educator, or any person who wants to have any kind of influence over someone, that is a fantastic book, and it will definitely open your mind to why we have fixed mindsets and growth mindsets. Because the fixed mindset is the mindset that doesn't, that feels failure. The growth mindset is the one that that always sees the learning in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, so let's see. Any other questions? So we're coming up on our hour here. We've got about 10 more minutes. If anybody has anything that they'd like to ask Geralyn,
ask me.
Ask away. I mean, she's come on, she's the award-winning, you know,
sober stylist,
hairdresser on The Voice and Shark Tank, and And American Idol, no?
No, lip sync battle.
Lip sync battle.
Yeah. So.
Tina also says, I've got a couple comments here on Facebook. Brittany Farr, who's a salon owner in North Carolina, says, I find that the comment of Tina to be very true. My older ones are harder to rein in than my new ones. They're stuck in their ways. And then Tina also says, what I find when I'm hiring people, no matter what generation, is to discover what kind of relationship they have with their parents. Ooh. The ones with great relationships with at least one parent end up being amazing team members. I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that. And I mean that might be true, but I actually
I'm sorry. I've got a couple.
Okay, you guys, check this out.
Where are they? There they are.
So
pigs.
Geralyn has pigs for pets.
They're Lucy and Ricky, and I swear to God, they're like an old couple. They're just stop fighting. Anyway, sorry guys.
So is that like not crazy? She's got gigantic pigs. Okay, so what I find when I interview people is for jobs is the one thing is if I can get out of them what is important to them. You know, if work isn't important to them, guess what? They ain't gonna work for you.
Right.
Right? If they're driven, they're driven.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so Tina says, what's next for you, Jerilynn? What's next?
Well, you mean as far as what I'm doing right now? Right now we're starting the Voice Live shows, you guys, on I think Monday, Tuesday, the 12th of November. I think that's it, you guys. You'll have to watch 12th, 13th of November through like the 19th of December. That's what I'm doing as the voice right now. And then I do the voice all year round, you guys. It shoots 2 seasons a year so far. I think we're good through 2019. I also shoot Lip Sync Battle in September, summer, yeah. But what's next for me, you guys, is I'm just putting it out to the universe, you know, continue doing what I'm doing, which is hopefully inspiring people to pursue their dreams. I'm a huge dream big and manifesting your life and staying sober. And so that's my passion, and that's where I'm headed.
So in case people don't know, I have this like stupid obsession with Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah. I do Shark Tank too.
I know you do. So when you were talking about Shark Tank when we first met, I was like, Shark Tank? Huh? Damon John?
Shark Tank.
Can I meet him? I'm such like, but I really do. I have this crazy weird obsession with it because I'm a hairdresser, but my mind is business.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather talk business all day than hair all day anytime. So I just thought I don't even know why I said that. This is an organic conversation. I don't know. I just thought I'd put out there that in this little talk that we've had, I'm a recovering drunk, just like Geralyn. Yeah. And B, I freaking love Shark Tank. And Geralyn has 2 pigs. And you know, but in the end, we have these like great lives, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just yeah, you guys, I mean,
what do you love most about your life right now?
Oh my God. Well, my family. My family is number one, no matter what. And I love my career. I don't mind getting up at 4 a.m. if I have to go to work. Like, I think that's what's so important. I think everybody needs to love what they do and not do it just for a job. I understand you have to do things for a job. I did do that when I was younger, but like, I love my life. I love my pigs. I love everything, guys. I love the hardships too. I'm not going to lie. I love an obstacle. I love things that make change. I know some people are fearful of change, and I'm not. I'm like, oh, bring it. I want change. Well, like, because always change brings you to another level. Don't you think? Like,
well, change is hard. You know, some change is harder than others, right? But there is something that somebody said to me one time, and it's, let's crash the gates of fear and doom and walk boldly together through the gates to joy and wonder.
oh yeah.
And I will never forget it. I say it to myself often when I'm feeling fear or when I'm feeling frustration. And I'm like, let's crash the gates of fear and doom and walk boldly together through the gates of joy and wonder. And when you think about change, and you think about all the crap that happens in life, right? And instead of fearing and dreading it, to look at it as a child looks, like a 2-year-old looks at things. And I think about that too. You know, we need to think back when we were kids and forget sometimes that we're adults, and forget that, you know, we've got all this responsibility on our shoulders, and we need to look at life in a joyful, wondrous, beautiful way. How's that?
I love it.
How's that for an ending?
I love this. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you're here or if you're watching later, thank you. If you sat through a whole hour, man, thank you.
I know. We did actually keep the people on the webinar. People have been jumping on and off of Facebook, which is typical. So we're going to close here. Thank you so much for coming on and watching the very first episode of Real Life, Real Salontreprepeurs with me, Kim Hansen from thenakedleader.org.
Kim, thank you for having me.
And I want to thank Geralyn for being so kind and being so open and so bold to walk boldly into this land of
unknown.
sharing like real life stories and being the first one. And if you want to follow Geralyn, you can follow her on Instagram, and her Instagram is Jerilynn Stephan. It's JERILYNN, and Stevens is STEPHENS.
Yes, follow me.
You can follow her on Instagram if you like. She's got some super cool videos. She's got all kinds of she's got her pigs on there sometimes.
Yeah, and I've also been working with Easy Updo Extensions, and I have some really cute how-to videos to make hair really fabulous really quick.
And Easy Updo Extensions, Gina, is it Greblo? So Gina Greblo is the owner of Easy Updo Extensions, and actually I'm going to speak to her probably. I was going to try and get on later this week with her on a phone call, but she will be on at some point as well onto the live. And these easy do updo extensions, guys, I've been freaking wearing them like twice a week because then I don't have to comb my hair twice a week.
It's a great third day wear.
And it's like third and sometimes fourth. So also just a shout out to Gina and Easy Updo Extensions, because she was with us at Student Underground as well. And so thanks for being on with me, everybody. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys got something out of this crazy whirlwind of a conversation that had no real direction other than real life with Kim and Geralyn and pigs. And you guys have a really, really great, let's see, what is it? Tuesday evening, and an even better week. And if you need to reach out to me, you can always reach out to me at kim@kimhansen.net or go to thenakedleader.org. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Bye.
How do we log out?
I'm gonna end us now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.